Hello guys, this is Orange, and today I'm gonna talk about my first impressions from Knights of the Frozen Throne. So the first card I want to talk about is Bone Marrow. It's a card that a lot of pros just dismissed when it was first revealed, saying it would be a great arena card but would never really see play in Constructed. But it turns out that if you put 9/9 worth of stats and 4 of them come as charge damage, together with Taunt, which means that it's effective against the aggressive decks too, it's hell of a card that will see a lot of play. Bone Marrow also works really well with high toughness minions or minions that are very sticky. For example, 2 of my favorite decks to play Bone Marrow is the Midrange Druid with Crypt Lord and the Tempo Warrior that I included Current Bloodhoof and Bloodhoof Brave in, for example, because all of these were cards that usually stuck on the board for Bone Marrow to buff up later in the game. I also want to talk about Death Knight Malfurion, which is, in my opinion, so far the most powerful card of the entire set. A lot of people have already discovered how powerful Death Knight Malfurion is, but the comparison I like to make the most, which makes the card sound super powerful, is that you basically have a Juskar Trueheart that is more flexible and also comes with some bodies when you play it. This all in all makes for just a super busted card that takes over the game immediately while also giving you a lot of defensive tools just as you play it, giving you the ability to take over the game in the first place without sacrificing too much tempo. You could compare Malfurion's hero power as of the tank up from Juskar Trueheart that you got in Warrior back in the day, but the one weakness of Juskar Trueheart's tank up was how you couldn't win the game with it. Like, it was very, very good at being defensive, but you never could go aggressive with that hero power, so your deck was just built out a whole lot of answers. Death Knight Malfurion's hero power plays both roles in just being able to play almost as good of a defensive role as Tank Up did, while also letting you, when you've gained enough life and you're stabilized, you can get aggressive and start to pick up minions with it. The hero power just plays very nicely with itself and it just takes over games single-handedly. Shadow Reaper Anduin is another card that I was kind of excited about when I first saw it, but then when I understood its interaction with Rosad Unchained, made me super excited for trying it out and playing with it. First of all, it's just a really nice designed card, considering that its hero power, like when it comes into play, it destroys all creatures with power 5 or more, which means that it kills off all the big things. Then its hero power is really, really good at picking off the small things, so the card just synergizes well with itself. But then when you pair it together with Rosad Unchained, that makes your hero power cost 0 for the rest of the game. It also just becomes a very powerful win condition on its own. So powerful a win condition that I'm not sure that priest decks even need to run cards like Obsidian Statue to win the game, which are probably the second most powerful card that priest got from this expansion. Just because Shadow Reaper, Anduin, and Rasa are so powerful at doing that by themselves. It's exciting to me because when Reno left, I thought they would never see Highlander decks be a thing anymore, but Shadow Reaper Anduin has made Rasa Unchained and Kazaku's Priest a real contender in the meta. Spreading Plague is a card I think will change the way you have to build aggro decks for the entire duration it's legal, considering that any aggro deck that tries to go wide on the board, for example Bloodlust Shaman is a perfect example of this, that tries to spam out a lot of small minions and then end the game with Bloodlust, gets absolutely destroyed by Spreading Plague. Especially when the card is paired with some sort of buff, like Power the Wild or Mark of the Lotus. So how would you then build a deck to beat Spreading Plague? Well, decks like Murloc Paladin that tries to not only go wide but mostly big. For example, they try to snowball the board with Murloc War Leaders, and they can make a lot of 5-power guys instead of just tiny 1/1s, are good ways to try to battle Spreading Plague if you still want to play aggro. Also, just not playing aggro at all could work, because Spreading Plague is When I say do nothing when you're ahead, I actually mean it does literal nothing when you're ahead on board. Spreading Plague also plays really nicely with some of the new toys Druid got with the expansion, namely with Ultimate Infestation. Strongshell Scavenger and the Spreading Plague together, especially post an Ultimate Infestation, gives Druid a way to come back from behind, which has been Druid's weakness since probably the Hearthstone beta. There's never really had a good way of coming back from behind, but Spreading Plague and the Strongshell Scavenger together, or really any buff like Power Divider, Mark of the Lotus, makes for a super powerful comeback mechanic for Druid. The last card I want to talk about is Defile. For the past few months, Warlock hasn't seen any play whatsoever, but Defile, together with some of the new tools that the Warlock was given, I think will make the class make a real comeback. Defile is not only just a very powerful card, but also a card that's super complicated to play with. Leads to a lot of interesting gameplay where you have to coordinate combat in such a way that you can set the card up for like a real powerful sweeper. You can also use it together with Mortal Coil or Spell Power cards to make extra use of the effect. We even saw Jackie Chan in his first demon handlock kind of Warlock that he used on the first day to go 27-2, play Tainted Zealot, another new card that no one thought would see any play. But together with Defile, it turns out that it's super powerful, and maybe that even opens up for that card to see a lot of play. But yeah, one of the better designs of the set and a super interesting card. That's it for my first impressions of Knights of the Frozen Throne. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe for more content from Alliance.